2, 1. Everybody's walking the line, going to trial. It's another day in prison. No one's really paying attention. I mean, people are always on point, but there's nothing different or noticeably different that's going on today. Or we're walking to lunch, but all of a sudden, OG, he breaks off our line. He's going in between people on the line. Bang, 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 bang. Hitting his kid. Bang, 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 bang. Holding him back, hitting him. Don't, wetting him. The kid's screaming, ah, 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 trying to break free, running, yelling, police, police. Police rush. Jit got stabbed about 7 to 8 times with a big old poker. Yo, what's poppin', man? It's your boy E.I. the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast, where I talk about prison, pre, post, and present, and how everything that I experienced throughout my incarceration has forever changed my life. This is the Incarceration. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. Today, we are talking about thieves, and not just any type of thieves. Today, we're talking about chain gang thieves, the most immaculate, spectacular, skilled of their craft. Not all of them, but I done seen some of the best thieves that I've ever seen in my life in the chain gang. The swiftest, the slickest, the most manipulative, the most deceitful, the most idiotic, and also crazy and dumb, whatever you want to call it, thieves in the chain gang. And you would think that stealing is the norm in prison. But I'm here to advise you today that it is absolutely not. Stealing is one of the no-nos in prison. Theft in prison is one of the most flagrant fouls that any convict can commit. There's no first or second or third chance. If you get caught stealing in prison, it will forever ruin your face and mark you as a thief, and it will haunt you the rest of your years in prison. Stealing in prison is the ultimate no-no and one of the most flagrant acts of disrespect that anybody commit in the chain gang. And you may be thinking, well, why is that? Because everybody in prison, everybody in the chain gang is a criminal, right? You got drug dealers, you got murderers, you got rapists, you got chomos, you got fraud people, you got people who committed all types of crimes or have been accused of committing all these types of crimes, including robbery and theft. But I'm gonna go ahead and break down, obviously I'm sure like common sense can explain enough for you. What is the difference between like robbery and theft? Well, like in a street explanation or a chain gang explanation, or maybe it's just a logical explanation, you know that robbery is somebody is taking something from somebody by force, whether it be with a weapon or a knife or whatever, or with their fists, or just extortion is the physical act of putting down on somebody and taking their possession. But thievery is secretively, manipulatively, deceitfully stealing from somebody to where they're not aware that it's you. So in prison, like it's more acceptable to rob somebody. Robberies happen all the time in prison. Robberies, I wouldn't say they happen more than theft, but maybe it's probably actually not. Theft is probably more. There's a lot more thieves in prison. But the most utter act of disrespect in prison is theft. Why? Because in chain gang, bro, nobody likes a thief. Before we get to it, man, once again, my name is E.I. the King. This is the Incarceration Podcast. So listen, if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. We are on the journey to 50,000 subs. Forever Convict family, we are on the journey to 50,000 subs. Right now, we're almost at 20K. I appreciate all the love and support. So if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so. Share this channel with anybody who enjoys prison content. I myself did over 12 years in prison. So at this channel, you can hear nothing but crazy, funny, weird stories that you can never even comprehend what happened or that I've seen or I've experienced experienced in prison. And yes, I've seen it all. I've been through it all. So you're going to hear all of that at this channel. But most importantly, we always champion the underdog redemption stories of convicts coming home and doing the right thing. Obviously, myself, for those of you who know my story, was never brought up in church, but while I was incarcerated, I authentically encountered Jesus. He radically transformed my life. I want to give him all glory. And now God's using me to go back into prisons and jails to proclaim the gospel, make disciples, and most importantly, just be an example of motivation and inspiration of change of those who are in the same position that I was once in, and that they too can find purpose and fulfillment through faith in Jesus. God can transform their lives, and their entire big can change and have purpose. So let's get back to it. Also too, man, I am a rapper. My artist name is E.I. the King. You can find all my music on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to music. I actually got a song dropping tonight. It's called Flaw. So go ahead, check out my music. I have another YouTube channel. It's my official artist channel, E.I. the King. And I also have another podcast on that channel. It's called Let Me Talk, Bro. I talk more about my life, ministry, all the above. So go ahead and subscribe to that channel as well. So let's go ahead and get back to it, man. Thieves in prison. Oh yeah, y'all go ahead. Please do me a favor. Go ahead and like this video. Y'all do me a favor. Go ahead and like this video. And whatever comments you go ahead and put on in here, I'm going to go ahead and answer them later. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to it. Thieves in prison are the most despised people, obviously, besides like sex offenders, chomos. That's like the bottom of the barrel of the status quo in prison. But thieves, listen, I'm telling you, it will taint your face, and that reputation will follow you wherever you go. I did over 12 years in the chain gang. Whenever a thief comes into a dorm, the moment a thief gets moved into a new dorm, everybody's saying immediately, that guy's a thief. Literally, like, if the dude really ain't about that, or even if he may be, some people will put him on blast immediately, right when he comes in the dorm. Like, he'll walk in with his stuff, going to his bunk, and somebody will be like, hey, yo, attention in the dorm, man, attention in the dorm. That dude's a thief, man. Lock your stuff. Oh, yeah, and by the way, and some people will even, like, put pressure on him and let him know. They'll approach him first quarter. Listen, dog, if anything goes missing of mine, if there's a honey bun or a rack of cookies or any of my blues or laundry, anything comes up missing, I'm blaming you, and you better hope nobody steals my stuff, because I'm blaming you, bro, and you're going to get it. You know what I mean? So, like, that's how the mentality of convicts have, like, of their perspective and their paradigm towards thieves. Now, you would think because of that, people would be scared to steal. But nah, bro, not at all. There's so many drug addicts and junkies in prison, or some people who just don't care and kind of want the smoke, they want conflict, or they're just like freaking kleptomaniacs. They can't stop stealing. Because, man, listen, I done been around some guys that no matter what, they can get jumped, they'll get stabbed, or they'll get in so much conflict, or they can really be gangsters themselves and be about that life, and they don't care, and they just will not stop stealing. So you got different types of thieves, right? You got like your petty junkie stunting thieves. This guy's like addicted to twack and dope or whatever, and he's just stealing anything he get his hands on. Somebody leaves a soup out on the sink with the hot water running, and they walk away because they're letting the hot water get hot so they can cook their soup with it. He's gonna go ahead and cuff the soup. And like, that's a little small act of theft, right? So you got like the junkie stunting thief who steals small things like that. There may be like a pair of nice basketball shorts that come out of somebody's laundry bag and just leaves at the bottom of the laundry cart, and rather than like allowing it to stay there or somebody finding it or saying, yo, there's a pair of shorts in the laundry cart, they take it and rip the tag off and try to adjust it to make it look like it's theirs. You know what I mean? That's like the more like lesser act of thievery in prison. But then you got like the advanced thieves. Now these thieves, these are the conniving, lying, deceitful thieves. You know what I mean? These are the type of guys who in the morning, like certain prisons, they got mandatory yard. You know, like you can't sleep in. The moment after count clears, after like 7:38, they pop the yard, wrecks open, and the police make everybody go outside the yard. So like if you're not a houseman, you can't stay in the dorm. So the police will even walk around with like a master roster sheet and check everybody's job who's still in the dorm. Like, all right, you're not a houseman. Or they just work the dorm so much they know who belongs in the dorm. They're like, all right, you're not a houseman, you're not a houseman, like y'all got to get out. But the thief, he knows that there's like a time window of being able to like act sleep and stay in his bunk until the police walk around and try to kick everybody else out. So he'll like go ahead and act sleep in the morning when everybody goes out for yard, and then he already has been watching. He's a pocket watcher, you know what I mean? So he's been watching and seeing like who hit the window, who hit canteen, and who's got the most food in their locker. And either they got like these little shivs, you know what I mean? Like these little things they can use like to bust the lock open, or they just hit the old fashioned way, just kick the lock off, you know what I mean? But that's loud. That's normally like a reckless act of stealing. That's like they got to get in and get out, and that normally happens in like two-man cells. And because it's loud, bro, like if you have a pair of state boots or canteen boots, you got to take the back of your boot heel and boom, like, and it doesn't normally come off the first hit unless like you're a pro, but you normally gotta bam, bam, bam. Or they'll adjust like they'll adjust the other locker on top of the lock, and they'll kick the other locker on top of the other lock, so it'll bust off. But there's other ways you can do it. They can use like tuna packs, and they put it inside the lock. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can break into locks. So if they're trying to steal secretively, they're normally not gonna go for like the kick the lock off type approach. They're gonna try to do it silently, or they'll just try to get somebody who just forgot to lock their lock, or people who don't use locks at all, and they'll steal whatever, food, hygiene, razors, so, whatever they find justifiable for them to steal. So yeah, and then whenever people get marked as a thief, like I said, man, they'll follow their reputation. When the moment they come in the dorm, everybody's watching them. Or maybe they try to leave that lifestyle of stealing alone. But even though they may have stopped stealing, or they're not stealing as of this moment while they're in the dorm, and somebody else, that will like cause another thief to steal, because he doesn't have maybe the highest reputation of stealing. So he knows if he steals something, he'll probably get away with it because everybody will blame that guy. So just go ahead and get back to the story. There's this young dude, man. I was in his dorm, and I was in a lifer dorm. Like, everybody had life. Everybody had like 30, 40 years, and majority of everybody in this dorm had a life sentence. I'm 20 years old, and I got like 4 months left. I shouldn't even be in this dorm, but I always kind of end up with like the bad hand throughout all my years in prison. I always ended up in gangland, like the worst max prisons, and I always ended up in like the most ratchet, savage dorms. But this time I kind of deserved to be in that dorm because I went to work release. I deviated from work. I went to the beach. I got caught, got an outside charge, sent me back to prison. They jacked my custody all the way up, and they put me in a dorm with lifers, whatever. So the point that I'm getting at is the dorm that I was in, they do not play at all. I'm talking about there's not even that much fighting. There is some, but they're not even trying to fight. They're trying to, you know what I mean? They're trying to wet you up, So this is a dorm where the respect level is high. Because everyone's got life and a lot of time, and people are trying to do time well. So go ahead, man. Listen, my name is E.I. the King. This is the Incarceration Podcast. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Share this channel with anybody who has not yet subscribed, anybody who enjoys prison content. I myself have done over 12 years in prison, so you're going to hear nothing but crazy, weird, funny, goofy, prison stories all on this channel that I have seen first-handedly myself, or experienced, or the interviewed of people who have experienced or seen it as well. And we especially highlight redemption stories of the underdogs, the convicts coming home, transitioning back in society, and successfully living a law-abiding lifestyle, doing the right thing, man. So listen, once again, too, I am a rapper. My name is E.I. the King. My music is found on all platforms, Apple, Spotify. Please go ahead and check out my music. I wrote my first album while I was incarcerated. Music is my full-time career. I really rap. I got a song coming out tonight at midnight. It's called Flaw. So go ahead and check that out. A lot of my music I wrote while I was in prison, or is geared towards those who are incarcerated, because as God transformed my life while I was in the chain gang, God's now using me to be an example of motivation and inspiration of change to those who are incarcerated. So also go ahead and subscribe to my other YouTube channel, my official artist channel, E.I. the King. And I do have another podcast. It's called Let Me Talk Bro. And go ahead and check out that podcast as well, where I talk more about my life, ministry, things like that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get back to it. All right, so this jit in this dorm, I'm in the lifer dorm, and he gets out of confinement, and exactly what I said before, the moment he comes in the dorm, my dog pulled up on me, because I'm young, I'm 19, I got money, so I'm hitting the window on the regular, but I mean, I only got like 4 months left, so I'm just staying low and just navigating my way through the chaos and just trying to make it home. But my dog pulled up on me and said, yo, bro, you know what I mean? Like, this dude just came in the dorm and he's a known thief, so you may not want to be like getting big bags from the window like right away, you know what I mean? Just let him adjust in the dorm, dude's a thief, just watch yourself, lock your locker. And that's like the norm, you know what I mean? Like when people come in the dorm who are on that foolishness, homeboys, people who know what type of time people are on, they put you up on game. That's just like convict code, especially like your group of people that you mess with, like your homies, your dogs, whatever. So that was the word that was going on around this dude the moment he came in the dorm. Now, like Like I already told you before, too, this is a common thing, bro. Like, this is not just this story. This happens all the time in prison. So there was a lifer in the dorm, a known convict. Dude had a Rolex watch, you know what I mean? Gucci shades, you know what I mean? This is a baller on the street, and he's chain gang rich, you know what I mean? He always hits $100 from the window every week. That's the max amount of money you can spend at the canteen window, $100. But of course, he gambles a lot, so he just got a whole bunch of food. He's hustling a whole bunch of illegal stuff. So he's just an old school convict who's just trying to do his time because he's got a life sentence. But he also don't play the radio. He really was about that life in the street, and even though he's in the chain gang, he's older, he's an OG, he's trying to lay back and chill, but he's still about that life if the occasion arises. So he's one of the guys, the moment that guy came in the dorm, he said, yo, check it. And he even announced it to the whole dorm. And I'm letting everybody know right now. He goes, if anything of my stuff ever goes missing, he goes, I've been in this dorm, you know, however many years, 2 years, 3 years, nothing has ever gotten stolen from me. I'm telling you right now, and I'm telling everybody in this dorm, if anybody takes anything, if anything comes up missing, he points the jit out. He says, I'm blaming you. So just know I know about you. And everybody's silent. They're just like, man, I ain't even on that. He goes, bro, I ain't even trying to rap. I'm just letting you know. I know your reputation. And he was just letting them know, you know. So you would think that this jit who's a thief, like he gets called out his first day in a dorm, within like 10 minutes walking into the dorm, that it's a lifer dorm. I think he had life too, though, that he's not going to steal, you know, at least not that guy. Like that guy don't play. You know, you would think that he wouldn't steal, right? All right, 3 months go by. It's called, man, this boy is laying possum. Playing possum. That's what's known as. He's just laying in the cut. He's just letting everybody function, do their time, letting everybody do whatever. Meanwhile, he's just plotting and he's just waiting till the right time. He's just waiting till he adjusts into the dorm and till everybody kind of like, you know, gets used to him being in there. And then he's going to make his move. And that's exactly what he did. Bro, all of a sudden one day, everybody comes back from yard. That same old school convict that I was talking about checks the dorm. Real calmly, though. He said, tension in the dorm. This is back when they stopped selling deodorants, like speed sticks. So in the chain gang in the state of Florida, they got like these bootleg, like deodorants that are like state made. And they're just bootleg, man. They're just crap, you know, fugazi. I don't know if people say that no more. But it's a trash deodorant. So anyways, they used to have speed sticks. But they stopped selling them, I think because they didn't like the gel ones. They were using them to make like stencils for tattoos. But you can still get them like on certain packages, or like people can get them like somehow coming from private institutions and they'll sell them at the state camps. But it's very rare to come across them. And normally when you buy them on a pound, they'll go from anywhere to like, you know, $90 to like $80, just because the tattoo guys will use it for stencils. It's the best thing they can use to lay stencils for tattoos. So this guy gets like, I think 6 of his deodorants stolen. This old school convict that already checked that jit when he first came in the dorm months prior. So everyone's at rec. The old convict was at rec. He comes back in. His locker was broken into. Or he doesn't even lock his lock. Some of these convicts and these old school or these gangsters don't even lock their locks. To them, like they refuse to lock their locks, because to them it's like kind of being scary or soft to lock their locks. You know what I mean? So they just refuse to use locks. Hey, y'all, do me a favor. Y'all please go ahead and like this video, man. If y'all enjoyed it, like the video. It helps it out. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Once again, my name is E.I. the King. I am a rapper. So go ahead and listen to my music. My artist name is E.I. the King. And I got a song coming out tonight. It's called Flaw. So check out my music on Apple, Spotify, whatever. Once again, my artist name is E.I. the King. As I get back to the story, y'all go ahead, do me a favor. Go ahead and like this video, man. So the old school convict, he comes back in the dorm. Everybody comes back from rec. He noticed all 6 of his deodorants are gone. Someone just stole from him. So he comes in. He's pissed, bro. You can tell he's pissed, but he's kind of calm, though, because he's thinking M. You know what I mean? He's thinking about, you know, so he's hot. So he comes in the dorm, checks the dorm. Attention in the dorm. Attention in the dorm. Whoever got my deodorants, just know that I'm going to find out who did it. And just know I'm coming. That's all he said. That's all he said. And some people were kind of like, dang, bro. Like, some people kind of like took that as like, kind of flaw what he did, because he already called out that jit that first day he came in the dorm. Like, if anybody steals from me, I'm blaming you. Or if anything gets stolen from me, like, I know it's you. But once again, this jit who's known as a thief, like, he had a life sentence too. So he was about them. He had hands, and like, you know what I mean? He didn't care about the knives either, you know? So he kind of was more the aggressive thief, and he just didn't care what anybody said about him stealing or whatever. So people kind of looking at the old school convict like, dang, like, why don't, like, you said all that the first day when he came in, like, why don't you go crash, buddy, you know? But anyways, little does everybody know that the old school convict is just plotting in his head. So another, like, 2 months go by, you know, like, no one's talking about it no more. Well, people are talking about it, but not openly. People are, like, gossiping, bro. One thing about prison, bro, is like everybody gossips. So everyone's kind of gossiping like, dang, like OG just like gonna eat that. You know, he just got his like deodorant stolen and he ain't doing nothing about it. So he's playing possum too. He's letting everything cool down, you know, because you know he got snitches in prison. I'm sure the officers probably already heard about it, you know, so they're probably watching him even more closely so he don't stab nobody or whatever. So he waits a couple months, and all of a sudden we start walking to lunch one day, because he already knew that right after it happened, that jit who stole from him, he's gonna be honest too. He's gonna have his head on a swivel, and he's gonna be on point. He's gonna keep that thing on him, and he's always gonna be watching around, making sure that nobody sneaks up on him. So the old school convict, he's just being strategic. He's just doing mental warfare. So he waits a couple months. So this kid who stole from him thinks that he's not coming for him. He's not going to do anything. And by the time he forgets about it and moves on and goes back to doing his time, old school ain't never forget about it. His rage, his anger is probably getting worse and worse each day. And all of a sudden, one day we're going to lunch. They're just not paying attention. Walks in front of old school, going up to get in line. Old school gets out of line. He starts weaving in between line. Pulls out a big old sword. Bam, 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 bam. Holding the kid, grabbing him by his jacket. It's wintertime. Bam, 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 bam. Hitting this kid. Back to back to back to back to back. Hitting him. He trying to get off him. He can't even move. The old school's big dude holding him back, hitting him. Bam, bam, bam. Finally, kid screaming, ah, you know. Knocks his arm down and starts running, yelling for the police. While he's running, he falls. The old school convict, he's a big dude, so he's running too. And then all of a sudden, the police run up, you know, mace the guy with the knife, and take the kid to medical and take the old school convict to jail. You know, obviously you're gonna hear a lot of war stories on this channel, just because in prison I've seen a lot of crazy things. And I see somebody's comment right now. Over some deodorant? Yeah, for sure. People got hit up way worse than something less. You know what I mean? People died over stamps or a word or a soup. Yeah, man, like respect is everything in prison. So whenever people feel disrespected, or especially like someone gets something stolen from them, bro, that's like expected, you know, in prison for sure. You know, so I don't really like glorifying, and that's not the intention at all, to share these stories, to glorify them. It's just to share honest, true, authentic experiences that I've seen or I've witnessed or I've experienced myself in the chain gang. So obviously, man, stuff like that sucks to see. It's crazy, you know, but this is an inside look for those of you who are interested in prison content and just to know the backstories of what happens in prison. So for those of you who didn't know, thieves are the very bottom of the totem pole in prison. Like, people who rob, they get respect in prison. People fear robbers because they run down on people barefaced with knives or masked up with knives, or they extortion or whatever, you know. So like people who rob in prison, they got good face, you know what I mean? They're just known for being about that. And like, if you got a phone, like, they're coming for you. Like, so those people are like esteemed in prison. But like thieves, people who steal, nobody respects a thief in prison. Nobody. Literally, like, the very bottom of the barrel of the status quo in prison is like sex offenders, like chomos. If you don't know what it is, like child molesters, things like that, rapists. Like, that's the very bottom of the totem pole, the status quo in prison. And right above that, literally right above that, thieves. And then like junkies, you know what I mean? People who like are just junked out, you know? And I'm not saying these things to be critical or to be condemning. I'm just saying what it is. You know what I mean? That's like the status quo, like in prison amongst, you know, convicts. So once again, man, listen, man, my name is EI the King. This is the Incarceration Podcast. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so. We're on a journey to 50,000 subs, y'all. 50,000 subs. Right now, we're at 20K. So go ahead and just blow up this channel, man. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this channel with anybody who enjoys prison or prison-related content. Have them subscribe as well. Y'all do me a favor. Go ahead and like this video right now. Also, too, man, I am a rapper. My artist name is EI the King. Go ahead and find my music on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, whatever. I wrote my first album while I was incarcerated. A lot of my music is like geared towards prison or about prison because I did so much time, over 12 years in prison. And I even write now to people who are still incarcerated because God's transformed my life, and it was through incarceration I authentically encountered Jesus. And as the Lord transformed my life while I was incarcerated, God's using me now to go back into prisons and jails throughout the nation to ultimately share the gospel, make disciples of Christ Jesus, and to share my story of redemption, how the Lord transformed my life, and God's now using me as a motivation and inspiration of change to influence those who are incarcerated, to remind them that in the middle of their bid, of their prison bid, of their incarceration, God still got purpose for them right there in the midst. So y'all go ahead and check out my music. Once again, my artist name is EI the King, and I do have another YouTube channel. It's my official artist channel, EI the King, and I also have another podcast on that channel. It's called Let Me Talk, Bro. So y'all go ahead and check out that podcast as well. I got a single dropping tonight at midnight. It's called Flaw. So y'all go ahead and check it out. I'm gonna go ahead and run through these comments. Hey, that's my son right there, y'all. Steve. He goes, hey, it's Steven Chester Jr. Hey, that's my son right there, y'all. All right, Vince Lombardi says, please give, Vince Lombardi, what's good, bro? All right, he says, please give some advice, bro. He said, a whole gang of folks in Bloods want me dead. A lot of guns. Girl I deal with, dude, pick with a gun in my galley says, snitch killer. When I don't condone that, but they don't want me dead because my dad's a snitch, and I ain't snitch on nobody. Helping advice other than change my name. Damn, bro. I'm sorry to hear that, Vince. First of all, bro, I'm praying for you, man. Like, genuinely, bro. I'm going to take one up for you in prayer. Second of all, bro, God often uses conflict and chaos to drive us to him. So I just encourage you, bro, to genuinely seek the Lord in this, ask God to protect you. And maybe God would just use all this chaos and this pain to drive you to him, to true surrender through faith in Jesus, for real. Also, number two, bro, when you're doing the right thing, bro, especially unto the Lord, bro, the Lord got you. Be wise, you know what I mean? Like, don't put yourself out there. Like, if you know where they're at, you know, don't put yourself in that environment. Kind of stay away. Maybe if moving is a possibility or a necessity, dog, sometimes you have to. And it sucks, especially if you have nothing to do with the situation. But sometimes street-related things can follow people who are even attached to that name. And I feel you, and I understand what you're saying. So I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Spidey, what's going on? I appreciate the compliment. Emery, EC10. We got Germany in the building. Shout out to Germany in the building. Probista. What in the Flavor Flav is going on here? Flavor Flav. Spotty says, yo, your man needs helping. Any help he can get. Where exactly is he located? Sports reports. Bro, I am not in prison, fam. Shout out to you, though. This is all prison memorabilia for 12 years in prison are free. Vince Lombardi says, we want it, we take it. Yeah, F stealing for real. Vince Lombardi was good. Dion, he said, oh, buddy's in prison. I'm not in prison. Yeah, Mosef, man. Mosef, man, shout out to you, man, if you're a regular on this channel. He already knew this was a backdrop. Dion thought he was in prison. PC Hoy, no, I'm not in jail. This is chain gang memorabilia. Michigan prison, they was making keys. Dang, that's crazy. Taylor Wason was good. He did first fight because the kid bought a lot from me and got robbed and said I gave him the comb away, but for real, the G's had a key. Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's a fact. People make keys. Yeah, and sometimes people got keys for the locks. The police got them. That's a fact. Big Shot, what state prison you talking about? I was talking about the Florida prison, Florida chain gang. Number one stunner. Yes, tattoos hurt, bro. John Cubitt says, that Bob Barker, for real. You already know, dog. The Taylor says, Fleece Johnson just hit the yard. I don't know who Fleece Johnson is. Who's Fleece Johnson? Fred Sistra, how come I knew you a fellow prisoner within 15 seconds of being on this live? Hey, man, forever convict family, dog. You already see the chain gang tats, and maybe the chain gang memorabilia had to give it away. Raymond Howell, what's going on, big dog? Yeah, Coco Rise over some deodorant, for real. Anthony Rio said, man, people get poked for a cig, for real. Tia Wilson said, man, how many times you seen it pop over somebody misunderstanding or something was said for real? Pride gets in the way and ain't no, yeah, for real, ain't no correcting it. And the Rios, you're right about the barrel, the rapers and chomos are definitely at the bottom. Coco Rise was good. She said, your son wasn't fed. You told him to keep low, but he didn't. God had people there who knew his dad. He had friends from different states. He had a cousin on his father's side, so he's protected. Praise God, man. It's kind of all about who you know in the chain gang, for real. Taylor Wilson says, in Michigan, the chomos walk free and peacefully. Extortion here and there, but nothing really happened. Yeah, man, I guess it kind of depends upon each state and where people are housed at. Akil Hamad says, who compiled the Bible? God in the sovereignty compiled the Bible and wrote it through agents, through humans, empowered by the Spirit of God. Over, I think it's 40 different authors. So Anthony Rios says, for the people that never been to prison, don't ever take anything on consignment without knowing that you can't pay it back. For real. Coco Raj, pray Psalm 91 over yourself. That's facts. Josh Murray, we got Canada in the building. What's good, bro? Taylor Wilson, you had a situation that caused me to have to change my name and leave. No contact with anyone. It sucked, but it's been about 6 years and feel peaceful now. I guess easier, I swear. That's what's up, bro. Anthony Rios, and even not bang and still always carry a pick and not a pick or razor because people don't fight fair in prison. People definitely don't fight fair, man. Joshua Murray, congrats. Sam Duck, definitely straight, Brody. That's funny though. Once again, this is a troll-free channel, man. Y'all can troll. I'm sorry, bro. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. But this is a troll-free channel. You can troll as much as you want. I think it's kind of funny. Annie Moore says, question, once you got out, how long did it take you to adapt to the outside? Man, I say like 2 years. Probably 2 years. I started feeling normal. Yash Shahani says, do people do MMA and jiu-jitsu in the pen? For sure. I definitely trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. All the Brazilian I learned was in prison. All right, y'all. Love y'all, man. Y'all stay encouraged. We're on a journey to 50,000 subs. If y'all have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Appreciate y'all. Forever Convict family. We'll be going live soon. Sorry, it's been about a week. I've been out of state. Till next time. Love y'all, man. Peace.